Hello there, Hallmark here. In today's video, I'm going to take a crack at hopefully improving the rag in a can tool oiler. So last year I did not do a super good job of protecting my tools from rust, and I do have some surface rust on a lot of my tools, and that's just me not being a good craftsman. So we're going to fix that this year, and we're going to build a new tool oiler. This is kind of what I'm calling the sponge in a jar oiler. And it hopefully will improve on a lot of things that the rag in a can oiler has, but it'll fit my shop a little better and be better for me. So let's dig into it. I'll show you how to make it. We'll have a good video. So guys, this is the issue right here. We look at this plane, which I think I spent like $150 on. I mean, it's a good little plane. It's the Stanley Sweetheart, a low-angle jack plane. But as you can see here, and I hope you can see this in the camera, is that there is surface rust everywhere. No pitting, nothing damaging or anything. It still works fine. I've been using it, but it does have the surface rust. It just was not taken care of properly, and it was not oiled. And so we got to fix that this year if we're going to make any kind of good progress with our craft. Now, I'm a huge fan of like Paul Sellers and all the good woodworkers here on YouTube, and that's kind of where I learned from, is right here where you're at. So anyway, but I didn't like the idea of having to get that rag and like wad it all up and roll it up and cram it into a can, and you can't really see what's going on inside the can. And you know, the rags get gross just like anything else would. So I thought, what if I just took that idea and just kind of tweaked it to hopefully work a little better for me? Now, this is completely an experiment. If you have any ideas about this, make sure you drop them in the comment section, because I really want to test this over the next few months and year to see if it's any good or if it's bad, because, hey, you never know until you try. So put your thoughts in the comments, and let's get into how to make this thing. So, guys, here's what I've got to use. I've got this little clear little mason jar. It's like a little jelly jar. And I'm going to use that to contain everything so that I can seal it up with a nice lid. I can see what's happening and how much oil and stuff is in there through the transparency of the glass. And it's just a cute little size, and I can use it to either rub the tool or I can leave it stationary and rub the tool. Anywho, then we've got these magic cleaning erasers. Guys, these are just like little melamine pads or whatnot, and they have like a light abrasive action, almost like a, I don't know, probably like 3000 grit sandpaper or something like that. Very fine, but it does, that's kind of the action it uses. These actually don't contain or are not saturated with any chemicals. They're just made out of that melamine material. And then for our lube here, normally use 3-in-1, but I found this 3-in-1 dry lube, and I'm going to use this for other projects this year. But this leaves just a wonderful little surface on your stuff. Really lubricates it well, but doesn't leave any kind of horrible residue where stuff will stick to. So pretty cool product there from 3-in-1. So we're going to do that, and let's make this thing. Alrighty, so the first thing I'm going to do here is actually take these little sponges out of the packaging here. Alrighty, there we go. We'll pop this lid off and see what we're working with here. So it looks to be to where I almost can get maybe one full round out of each. We'll see what happens here, but we're basically just going to trim these up here. Wow. All right. And then we'll just keep on trimming till we get something about like that. And that should fit into the jar while still having a tightness to the jar, so it won't come out. So it's kind of stuffed in there, much like the rag. But that took like no time. I didn't have to sit there and roll a rag or mess with anything. And it's just been really nice. And then we'll sneak around here and do a little measurement there. And we'll just clean up our edges. All right. Now we can tuck this section in there. And that is almost perfect, but I do wish it was coming up above the lip a little bit. So I'm actually going to take some of these spare pieces here and try to work with these and just get us a little tightness in there. Now we should be able to cram this guy in there. Let's try this. Little horizontal cut. That's kind of cool. And this is all an experiment, guys. I don't know what I'm doing. Alrighty, so that should, as it fluffs up, should sit above the jar in such a way to where I can rub a tool on it, much like the rag oiler. But it shouldn't rub against the glass, just like that. All right, cool. So that's a pretty neat little guy. And I'll save these scraps, and I can use these to clean with as well. That'll be fun. All right, so we've got our jar here. So what I'm going to do is actually start layering in this lubricant, this dry lube, 100% dry to the touch. It says it reduces friction and wear, resists grit, and protects. And of course, it'll help us with the rust issue. So I'm going to go ahead and just add a pretty good healthy amount in here. I just want to saturate that entire sponge like that. And once that gets fairly saturated, I can add in my little horizontal filler piece here. And again, we'll coat that down as well. There we go. And then our final little top piece here, which should stick out just above it, like that. Just going to start in the center and work my way out here. And then in the center, I'm going to put just a huge amount of some, just to saturate all of the sponges there. This is oddly satisfying, and I really like it. Okay. Now, to experiment, I'll put my lid on here and squish it down and seal it up tight. So now we have a transparent glass where we can see what's happening. We can see how much saturation we have of the oil. It's nice and transportable, easy to mess with. And then when we need to use it, it pops open. Your sponge comes above the glass lip so that if you're planing, you can simply run that across that like that or what have you. And that does feel really nice. That feels super slick. And then if we wanted to, we could pick this oiler up. Wow, look at all that. That is so cool. Of course, it'll take, using it a little bit to get used to it, but that is so neat. That just works really well. I don't know if you can see that oil on there, but it's not like a huge amount. Like it's just barely a little film on there. You see that? Of course, I'm going to be careful because I do have my blade kind of exposed, but wow, that is so cool. All right. Pretty nifty. All right, guys, I'm going to actually go ahead and experiment a little bit more. Now, for this surface rust that I have on these tools, as you can see how ugly that looks, I'm going to use these melamine sponges and just do a little experiment to see if I can't really help get some of that surface rust off with just this. Because like I said, this is the equivalent of some very fine, like automotive type sandpaper, and that's the action that helps it clean, is that it literally scrubs stuff off of your surfaces like that. So we're going to actually do this hopefully in real time here. Let me find a good patch of rust. That little top part there is covered. And I'm just going to sit here with this melamine sponge and rub on it. Wow. Oh, man. There's near the emblems down there. Wow. Okay, so it took off quite a bit of dirt, debris, grime, and all that. And I can tell that there is a reduction of the rust, just barely. But this is not, a good tool for this. That was just a fun little experiment. But anywho, so yeah, it won't take off like huge amounts of rust, but it'll help clean your tools real nice. I mean, this is looking nice and clean and shiny. And you can actually get in here really good and get some of that dirt and grime off. Yeah, that is actually helping. It would just take me like 2 hours of sitting here doing this on this one spot for it to actually work. So there's better ways of doing it, but that's just something fun. I thought we could experiment for our new oiler. So that is fun. Well, guys, I have got a lot of busy stuff to do here now. I've got to actually lubricate, clean, and sharpen all of my tools because I did not do a good job of that last year. But hey, it's a new year. It's a new year. It's a new us. And I thought this fun little tool right here might be something fun you could use in your shop. It is the little mason jar oiler, I guess. The sponge in a jar oiler. I don't know. But anyway, experiment with this, see what you think. And this cost me like, I don't know, The sponges was like $2. The jars, the pack of jars was like $12, and I got enough jars to choke a donkey, so that's good. And the oil was probably, I don't know, $3, $4, $5. So I'd say probably for $10 you can have this, and it'll last hopefully forever. Hopefully forever. Alrighty, guys, I thought I'd offer a few caveats here. The main caveat is looking up the material of the sponge. Now, the sponge will not last in here indefinitely. That's correct. It will degrade, as all things do. I mean, even the rag or a kitchen sponge or anything like that will degrade. So this is not like a set it and forget it, come back 3 years later and you're good kind of thing. This is probably something you want to kind of replace maybe every 6 months or a year, just because the melamine will start to break down in the presence of that oil as it's concentrated. Another thing that we've learned in today's video, another caveat, is that these little melamine sponges don't do a whole lot for rust. They will over time if you put a bunch of elbow grease in it, but really these things are just for cleaning, which is kind of fun, and I can use them on my tools. That's good. And they're dirt cheap. So yeah, there's your caveats. Your sponges will break down probably. You have to swap this out a little bit. It does cost a little bit more, I would say, than just grabbing an old rag and a tomato can out of your pantry. So there's some things there, but overall, it's a great little tool. I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you liked the video. If you did like the video, make sure you hit the like button. That's why it's there. And make sure if you want to join in on my journey this year as I improve my wood shop. As you can see already, I've already started. Then yeah, hit the subscribe button and the bell notification icon. That way you can hang out with me out here in the shop. So anyway, cool new tool. I'm happy.